In this lesson, we're going to dive deeper into the key components of a cloud assessment and how they can help organizations make informed decisions about their migration into the cloud environment. Now, cloud assessments, which are also known as feasibility studies, are an essential step in the process of migrating to the cloud. Cloud assessments involve a thorough examination of an organization's readiness for cloud migration and helps to identify any unique business requirements, IT infrastructure, applications, and dependencies that may need to be addressed and thought of as you're doing your migration. Now, cloud assessments include many different actions, including an examination of the organization's business requirements, your current IT infrastructure, your orchestration needs, the identification of applications and their dependencies, evaluating network functionality, and identifying the required documentation for the organization's new cloud-based systems. Now, one of the first things that a cloud assessment is going to do is to examine an organization's unique business requirements. This includes identifying any industry-specific concerns, such as any budget constraints, security needs, or compliance requirements that you may have. Laws and standards such as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, known as HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, known as SOX, and the Payment Card Industry Digital Security Standard, known as PCI DSS, are all things that you need to understand and consider during your assessment process to see if they affect your organization and its business requirements. Now, a real world of conducting a cloud assessment and considering the organization's unique business requirements might be to look at a retail company that's looking to move their e-commerce platform into the cloud. This organization would first conduct a cloud assessment to evaluate their different cloud providers and determine which one is going to best meet their needs in terms of cost, security, scalability, and compliance. And especially, this would come in terms of the PCI DSS compliance requirements because this is an e-commerce platform that's going to be taking credit cards as a form of payment. Then, they're going to have to consider their unique business requirements, such as the need for a higher level of security for customer data, the ability to handle a large volume of traffic during peak shopping seasons, and compliance with industry regulations like PCI DSS. Based on your assessment, the organization can then make a decision on which cloud provider they're going to use and how to best implement their e-commerce platform on the cloud to meet their specific business cases and requirements. Next, we need to consider the organization's current IT infrastructure because this is another crucial component of a cloud assessment. The cloud assessment should examine the hardware and technologies that are currently in place, such as your servers and virtualization, to determine if they're suitable for a cloud migration. An infrastructure as a service solution, known as IaaS, might be something that we're going to use in the cloud that would rely on virtualization technologies, so it's going to be really essential for us to ensure that the infrastructure can support virtualization effectively and that our virtual machines have been made to work for that particular cloud provider. Additionally, the assessment examines the current use of orchestration solutions and then will determine if they can be leveraged to streamline, standardize, and simplify the deployment process. A great real-world example of this might be a doctor's office or healthcare provider who wants to move their electronic medical record system into the cloud. During your cloud assessment, you're going to have to take into account their current IT infrastructure, such as their hardware and software that's currently being used, as well as the level of customization of their electronic medical record system, the existing data storage and backup systems, as well as considering the integration of the electronic medical record system with other systems such as lab results or pharmacy data from other third-party providers that you may be connecting to. Based on your assessment, you would then have the organization make a decision on which cloud provider they're going to use and how to best implement their electronic medical record system on the cloud while considering the existing IT infrastructure that they're coming from and how you're going to migrate that into the cloud. Next, we have orchestration. Now, orchestration refers to the automated deployment of a service from standing up a virtual machine to granting access to a fully configured system to many other things you can do with orchestration in the cloud. For example, orchestration could automate the steps of deploying a virtual machine, installing the operating system, configuring and patching that operating system, installing all of your supporting software, and then granting access to our end users. The assessment that you're going to conduct will also be used to examine the current baseline of your IT infrastructure, and therefore, you can help ensure you have a consistent level of hardware and operating systems being deployed into your cloud environment. Let's take a look at a real-world example of using orchestration. Let's pretend you're working for a financial services company that wants to move their online trading platform into the cloud. The financial services company needs to first consider how the organization is currently running their applications on-premise that they want to be able to migrate into a cloud-based environment. During that organization's assessment, they're going to consider how orchestration tools, such as Kubernetes and Terraform, could be utilized to manage and automate the deployment and scaling of their applications in the cloud environment. This would then help them to improve their overall efficiency and reduce the time and resources required to manage that infrastructure. Another important component of a cloud assessment is the examination of applications and their related dependencies. Now, many applications were simply not designed to be run in a cloud environment, and they may not function correctly or efficiently in that type of an environment. As you're going through your assessment, you're going to be categorizing applications as cloud ready, cloud modified, or cloud inappropriate. Therefore, it may not be advisable to migrate legacy applications, heavily modified applications, or programs that were developed in-house into the cloud because they may not be cloud ready and instead they may be found to be cloud inappropriate. Due to this, many organizations won't end up migrating 100% of their services into the cloud and will still hold some things on-premise because those things that were not cloud ready would be too hard or too costly to move into the cloud. Now, a great real-world example of this might be if you had a company that wants to move its on-premise workloads into a public cloud platform like AWS, Azure, or GCP. This company would conduct a cloud assessment to evaluate its readiness of all of its different applications and dependencies for moving them into the cloud. And they'll take into consideration factors such as security, compliance, performance, and cost when making that decision. This would include analyzing the compatibility of the applications and dependencies within the cloud platform, as well as determining any necessary changes or modifications that would need to be made to ensure that they're going to run smoothly in that new cloud environment. The company also needs to consider the dependencies that each application has on other systems and applications, as well as how those dependencies would be affected if we move into a cloud environment. Next, during your cloud assessment, your organization also will need to consider the network functionality that's required by your various systems. The bandwidth, the performance, the reliability, and the security of your internet connections must be examined to ensure there is a low latency between the consumers of your service and the service itself. For example, Microsoft recommends that branch office locations connect directly back to Office 365 data centers instead of having their traffic funneled through the main headquarters location because this will slow down your overall network connection. Finally, the cloud assessment phase is an excellent opportunity for you to ensure that documentation is current and accurate for all of your systems and services, including those that you've moved to the cloud. Organizations are going to generate a series of diagrams that map the physical and logical network paths, the relationship of the data to the applications that access it, and other important information to make sure everything is well documented. This documentation process can be used to plan and execute your migration as well, and it can also give you access to having details when you're providing ongoing support for your cloud services in the future. So, as you can see, cloud assessments are an essential step in the migration process because it provides organizations with a thorough examination of their readiness for the migration into the cloud and helps to identify any unique business requirements, IT infrastructure, applications, and dependencies that may need to be addressed. By understanding and utilizing these key components of a cloud assessment, organizations can make informed decisions about their migration to the cloud and ensure that it all goes smoothly.